up, you guys? It's Marley from the Inja Bays, and today we have a really exciting update on AB 1824. If you guys haven't seen it already, Sema put out a really great document called Fact versus Fiction, and it answers a lot of the questions that everybody had. So I'm excited to talk about that, talk through it, excuse me. But there were a couple questions that I felt that this document didn't clarify, so I reached out to Christian Robinson, who is Sema's Director of State Government Affairs, and just had asked him a couple questions, and he did respond to my email, so I wanna share that with you guys. But the first thing I want to do is actually talk through the Sema document itself. So pretty much on this Sema document, there are a couple really key points that I think everybody has been asking, and a lot of us have already answered, but it's still really good to go through this. So that first one was, were California's exhaust laws changed? And no, it wasn't changed. AB 1824 just made that ticket that you would have got. It was originally a fix-it ticket, now it's just a mandatory ticket, but that vehicle code 27150 and 27151 have been around since 1959. It's been around for a very long time, so the law itself didn't change, it's just how they dictate a fine is how that changed. Is it now legal to install an aftermarket exhaust? No, it's not. All you have to do is make sure you're not over 95 decibels and you are good to go. There are apps out there, there are meters out there that you can go and you know, check and see. There should be, I'll put a link in the description, but there's a specific way that you have to do it. The next question on here that I think is really, really good, and people do need to like pay attention to this part of this Fact versus Fiction document that Sema put out, is what are my options if I get a ticket? So there is an option if you do get a 27151 or a 27150. There's so many numbers in this thing. That you can go to a state ref and go get a certification of compliance. And that's something that I've said in our previous video. Now, what they don't tell you in this document is there is a fee to go get certified, and I could not find the fee cost anywhere. So you're just gonna have to schedule and you'll have to find that out for yourself. I do know it is over $100. And the other thing is that they don't accept preemptive appointments to go and get certified. So that means you have to get this violation for you to go in and go get the certification of compliance. You can't just call and say like, I'm certified. The bar does not accept that. So in this document, there's also a really, like, it answers probably the internet's biggest question of, is it a $1,000 fine? And it's a yes and a no. Okay, so hear me out before you get like all up in my grill. Yes, it could be up to a $1,000 fine, which is something we did mention in our previous video. It could be up to our $1,000 fine. The reason why is because they could stack on violations. There's also base fees and like court fees, and there's tons of weird fees. And honestly, there's another YouTuber, Lethal Camaro, who really does a great job explaining exactly what that is, and I did put his video in the description below, so if you want to check that out, I highly recommend it. But the good news is, if you get only just this particular vehicle code, which is 27150 or 27151, the first conviction fee is actually only $25. Hallelujah, right? It sounds like awesome. But what they do say in here is it's a first violation conviction. So if you give violation 2, if you give violation 3, if you give violation 4, I believe it's gonna start going up. Just kind of like how like you can't text and drive. Your first ticket's like 125, and then the second one's like 400. It's kind of that same situation. So yeah, but that is really good to clarify. So don't panic anymore, guys. Your first violation more than likely won't be $1,000, but if you got no front plate, tinted windows, exhaust noise, too low to the ground, your brake lights out, your license plate lights are out, which they totally can stack all that stuff on a ticket, it could be up to $1,000. So pay attention, make sure you're good to go if you get pulled over by an officer. Now, when I saw this documentation, I was really happy. I'm really glad Sema put that out because it does clarify a lot of stuff. But I personally felt like there were a couple questions that it didn't really answer. So I wanted to reach out and ask. And Christian responded so fast. It was awesome. And I want to say thank you so much for responding to my email. So here were the questions and then his responses. And I'm going to have a screenshot up here that I'm not faking it. I actually did it. I emailed him. And he did respond. I guess it's over here. It's not over here. So my first one, and I think this was the most important one that I had. If I receive a certification of compliance, does this mean the fine I received about my exhaust will be dropped? This one blew my mind. Okay. All right, guys, you need to pay attention to this. Okay. Christian responded, "It is not a guarantee, but from our past experience, the ticket will most likely be dropped if you receive a certificate of compliance." So, what I feel like this means, this is my personal opinion. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, I'm not a police officer, okay? This is my opinion. If it's your first time getting this violation, I feel a certificate of compliance will help get the fines dropped. But if a judge sees that you have multiple violations for the same exact thing, so for example, you may have you're going like round 2, round 3, round 4, I don't feel that the certificate of compliance will help. I feel like they're gonna be like, well, you're probably just changing your exhaust to get it fixed, and then, you know, you're bringing it in, but we keep giving you the same violation, so that means the court may not accept that certificate of compliance. So I feel like that's really important to note, that just because you went and got it does not mean you're gonna get out of the fine. It's a high probability, but it's not 100% guaranteed. I think that's super important. Here's something I didn't know, so I want to make sure everyone knows this. I had asked if you receive a VC 27151 or VC 27150, does this mean you have to go to a state ref? Now, in my opinion, and from the documents that I had seen, that if you got these specific vehicle codes, you do have to go to a state ref. Now, Christian tells me, if you receive a violation, it is not required that you visit the state ref. So you may get an awesome cop who decides not to state ref you and just give you the violation code, which is okay, that's great. Now you have the option of either going to a state ref to go get the certificate of compliance, or you could just pay the fine or figure out a way to fight it in court. Now, I would say though, and again, this is my personal opinion, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police officer, 9 times out of 10, if you get this violation code, more than likely you're gonna get state refed. I'm just gonna flat out say that, but it is good to know that you might just get the violation code and not have to go to a state ref. And the last thing that I had asked that I had already previously mentioned earlier in this video is that what is the cost of a certificate of compliance for one's exhaust? Christian said, I can't speak to the cost of the certificate, but you can ask theref.org for more information, and I looked into it and I couldn't find the price. I think I'm gonna have to call, but if anyone wants to call, maybe post it below, that'd be awesome, but there is no, I haven't seen like a set like price, and maybe I just missed it. If you find it, please let me know. I'd love to see that. There's a last couple things that I want to mention that I saw in our previous video, which if you haven't seen, there is a link. Actually, it's gonna be up there. Click it, watch it if you haven't seen it yet. There are a couple things that people were commenting that I kind of wanted to speak on and clarify, and like mainly 2 specific things. So there was one about if your vehicle is under, like, if it's older than like 1975, am I exempt from this? And you're not, because this is a noise, not an emission situation. So if you have a vehicle that is older than 1975 or whatever that limit was, you still have to adhere to the 95 decibel limit in the state of California. So that is important, that like you do need to know, because again, it is a noise infraction rather than an emissions fraction. Those two separate things. The second point that I wanted to make that I saw a lot of arguments on is still the whole non-state residence and driving a vehicle here that's not registered in the state of California. You guys, I'm gonna make it plain and simple. Yes, you still have to abide by the local law, the state ordinances that are here. It's not a question of, well, you know, my car is registered there and we have different laws. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And more than likely, an officer is not going to pull you over and give you a citation, but that does not mean he can't. So just know that. Doesn't mean he can't. So pay attention to that. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I'm going to put down my sources yet again and some great resources that I've seen, as well as the petition to help repeal AB 1824. I do think it's important. I think we should take it a step farther and really change the vehicle codes themselves, but you know, one step at a time. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this update video. We have a couple more videos on this coming out really soon. I'm really excited to share them with you because I feel like they're going to be really good sources for you to use. And from that, I'm just going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching.